Okay. So this is the Conscious Creators Workshop, which has been inspired by a book that we just recently wrote called the Conscious Creators Code. So it's basically like all about how you can just consciously create what you want in your life through the power of your mind. So I'll just do a brief little introduction. So Sanal, my husband's here. He's been a spiritual teacher and philosopher for the last 14 years and is originally from India and has basically created this whole new method of personal development and spirituality and mindfulness called spiritual logic, which is basically just blending together spirituality and logic, as you can see from the name, making it more practical and easy for people to understand and to actually implement into their life instead of getting all beat down with all this jargon and all these words and can get confusing in terms of like traditional spirituality. That's why he basically put it in this new way. So he teaches here at a yoga center in Thailand and then also online as well, and has been able to help people with all different types of mental struggles, such as depression, anxiety, relationship struggles, trauma. And it all just comes down to understanding the mind, how to take charge of your mind and your thoughts in order to overcome these things. So the key takeaways for this workshop, the first piece is discovering more of your own truth and purpose, what is that matters to you the most, how to let go of habits and attachments that are no longer serving or helping, how to create the kind of relationships that can nurture your higher self, your true self, and then how to actually embody this new mindset in a way that generates powerful change. So it's not like something you just learn it and then forget about it, like how to really embed it into your mindset so that you can use it in your everyday life. And so this is actually a 2-day workshop that we have broken down into 6 different lessons. So the first day we'll go over lessons 1 through 3. So number 1 is uncovering your inner truth and purpose. Number 2, overcoming fears and limiting beliefs. And number 3, breaking free from bad habits and toxic attachment. And then tomorrow we'll go into how to cultivate more of a mindset of gratitude, attract more abundance, build conscious and understanding relationships, and then integrating the knowledge for lasting transformation. So it's going to be a combination of learning theory, doing practice and techniques, and also just reflecting on it. So it's nice to have a small group. And so we'll go ahead and start off with the first piece of it, how this all goes together. So I'll pass it over to Sanal and let him do the talking. We're going to do the intro.
I hope everyone is having a beautiful day or evening where you are at. And it's 9 o'clock here, and I'm already a little bit sleepy. So, without further ado, let's just get on with the topic at hand. Yeah. So, shall we? So, let's start with module 1, how to uncover your inner truth and purpose. So, when we are speaking about inner truth and our purpose, and in terms of uncovering that, this is the correlation between your purpose and your action is this. Yeah. So what we do, what we do essentially leads up to the purpose. So the real question when it comes to the purpose is not really whether do we know what our purpose is, but the question is what actually we love it? Do we enjoy it? Does that really make us feel good about us? So as long as what you're doing, you do love it and you do enjoy it, the purpose itself will get revealed in time. The actions are something that you do love and enjoy doing. And also, it does make you feel good about yourself, meaning to contribute to high self-esteem. So when it comes to your purpose, the first thing that you want to ask yourself is, does my purpose benefit myself, or does the benefit of my purpose extend over myself? The purpose, if it is only self-serving, if you are the only one who benefits from the fulfillment of your purpose, then it doesn't really contribute to adding in self-worth or self-esteem for that matter. So you need to have a purpose that extends beyond yourself, that it serves more than just yourself. The impact of the fulfillment of your purpose should reflect upon the world at large rather than just in your own life. So these are the fundamental things that we want to check in. If we do have a purpose, we want to see if the purpose is more self-fulfilling or it serves the world at large.
Can we ask question? Or
Yeah, definitely. Of course.
and how is it if you say that you are me and I'm you, we're all one. So if my purpose fulfills myself, it also fulfills or contributes to others. What do you think about that?
No, that is how a purpose should be. A healthy purpose should be fulfilling more than just yourself, because that's when because we are at the core of it, we are social creatures, and there is a lot of interdependency and interconnectedness between
Hmm.
us as a species. So the point is that we humans evolved to live. We didn't specifically evolve to live in as independently, even though independence is much valued, much appreciated value at
Hmm.
this point. The way human beings we evolved to function within a tribe. So there's a tribal psychology at the core of us, at the core of how we operate as human beings. And when we are operating with a tribe, the fundamental point is that you make yourself useful to the tribe at large rather than being like a dead weight or like being a liability for the tribe and not adding anything to it. So there is a fundament. So when you are thinking of showing up for in life, you are you, it's about who you are showing up for beside yourself within the tribe. So it's like when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. But you need to know uh, what or who you are showing up for. If you don't really know that, then it doesn't really bolster enough courage to do the difficult thing. And so,
And what do you say then? Because you said you don't
mhm.
have to know your purpose, you just have to do, or you have to enjoy what you do. But
Yeah,
sometimes people say you have to experience the hardship because that literally brings you to where you're supposed to be.
yeah, of course. Because sometimes when you're doing something, it's not the result is not so apparent to you in the moment. So that's a higher mind function, optimism, you know.
Yeah.
So we need to have that higher mind function. Like we need to be able to find that optimism, create that optimism to be able to see that beautiful things that waits for us across the horizon, even when we are doing it. Because if you cannot really see it in the moment, then it makes it difficult for you to actually do the thing.
Hmm.
But if you can really see why you're doing it, even when it's not so obvious in the moment, it gives you that motivation, that push. to do those difficult things. Of course, if someone is not really optimistic, they cannot really see the good things that waiting for them as a result of those difficult things they're doing in the moment. Yeah, of course, it's difficult. So for a person who's pessimistic, it's more difficult to live life like that as opposed to for someone who is optimistic in nature. Yeah. Plus, when it comes to your values, it's not very clear cut thing. Like you just simply follow your values because sometimes the values that you have formed at some point in your past, which you have been married to and wedded to and been keep following it, maybe it is time to just really take a good look at if this value is serving in my life. Am I better for this value or worse for it? Am I closer to me at my best by making this value the top of everything, or am I showing up not in my best in this way? Yeah, so it's really about asking the question, do I love the life that I have created? Because values are the blueprint for your unconscious mind for how to live life. Subconscious or your unconscious mind decide what to allocate time and energy and effort according to what you value most. So whatever you value most, there is going to be amount of time and energy and attention allocated to it. So you naturally are going to spend a lot of time if something is of high value. So you want to check in and see, do I love my life? That becomes like the fundamental question. So, because the life that you have is a result of the things that you do. And the things that you do is a result of what you really value most. So it's all connected. So if you don't really love the life that you have, when you ask the question, do I love my life? And when you are asking that question, you're noticing how your body reacts, not not what the story in the mind says, not what, oh yeah, I love my life. Yeah, I have everything going in order. No, it's not really a logical question. You're more noticing the felt sense of the corresponding question. What's the response from the body like? Does the body relax and feel more good when is it like a full body yes? When you ask the question, do I love my life? Or just the body doesn't really react much. It's like neutral, or it just cringes up. It's negative. So either is the body is gonna just actually relax, feel good. There's gonna be a full yes from the body, or it doesn't, because body doesn't have answers such as complicated and stuff like that. So either relax or just tenses up. So you can just ask the question, do I love my life? And immediately you will get an answer. And if the answer is no, that's when you have to start looking into the value. Okay, is it like, is this value still serving me? What is it creating in my life? Or maybe the form in which the values are showing up in your life is what needs to change. Let's just say you have freedom as a high value, but the form in which freedom has been showing up in your life has been in a particular way. Maybe there is a change in terms of the form in which that freedom is manifesting in your life. It's showing up in your life. Whatever it is, if you get attached to those values and the form in which these values need to be expressed in your life, that's when energy gets stagnated. Because energy likes movement, it doesn't like getting stuck. So when you form a value, which is like a perfect value at the time of what's going on in your life, and it fits perfectly, you need to always recognize that everything is changing. You are changing all the time, and the conditions that you are living is also changing all the time. So the values might have been a good fit at the time when you have formed it, but doesn't mean it always is a perfect fit all the time in every day. That's not what it means. So you can let go of those values if you don't really love the life that you have created, by making these values the center stone of your life. You can let go some of these values and ask yourself the question, what would I love to create? And form new value that is better fit for the life that you are living and leading right now, one which would be a better fit for you. So the guided exercise is really sitting with yourself and asking the question, do I love what I do in my life? Do I love my life? So when you're asking, do I love my life? It's about having. Just like doing, you're questioning having, because life is about what do you have in life? Relationship, network, friends, connections, everything you have. And you can also ask the question, do I love the way I show up in different areas in my life? How I'm being. So it's being, doing, having. So you can question all these levels of it. Do I love what I have in my life? Do I love what I do? Do I enjoy what I do? And do I love how I show up in different areas of my life? So it can be relationship, it can be friends, it can be family, it can be just how I meet the world.
Can you make an example of these values? For example,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I would say I really love my life, like how it is, but I still feel I would love to have this kind of friendship or this kind of a relationship, or I don't, still there is something we always have that we want more, but doesn't necessarily mean there is a value missing because it feels it's a hell yes from the body.
I know it is just more like some values are there, they're more inclusive of the other values. Like values is a hierarchy, the hierarchy of values. So there is the highest value, then there is the lower values, and the lower values, and the lower values, and the lower values. So it's not never just one value. So the real question is all my secondary values and all the other values coming in the hierarchy, are they all getting met in this highest value? So is the highest value inclusive of all the other values that I do have? Like, for example, let's just say my high value is freedom. And then after freedom, it comes independence, it comes respect, or it comes love. So then the question is, does when I have freedom, do I have love? When I have freedom, do I have independence? So that's how I know. When I if I have when I have freedom, if I have all the other things too, then it's easy for me to make a decision. I can just all I have to do is just ask myself, okay, do I have my freedom if I do that? Because I have all the other things already fit in to that. So work that I do is a values based coaching where you bring in alignment within the hierarchy of values a person would have. Usually, what problems arise when someone doesn't have some of their other values not getting met when they go for their highest value. That's when they're like, oh, I have freedom, but I don't have my independence, so I go for my freedom. I don't have my life when I go for my freedom. You understand? Yeah.
I just had to laugh because my narcissistic ex, that was the first question he asked, what are your values? So by that, exactly what person it is. Wow, it's actually true. And I remember we had a discussion for 4 hours. What's that hierarchy? That's not easy.
It's
Yeah.
just it's not easy because violence is a profound work in and of itself. Because once a person have their highest value all aligned and it's
Mm.
all inclusive of all their lower values, when that's done, then it's so easy because now you have streamlined decision making itself. Because all you have to do is you only have to ask one question and you can just suddenly take action because you don't have to consider any other questions because all that is already done. That's the big benefit of values work. So people who are in management position or higher up in the ladder of corporate ladder, they usually tend to do this kind of stuff because a lot of kind of things depend on they making right decision at the right time kind of stuff. So yeah. So that's something that I would say is if within your power to do to examine the values that you have in your life and see if it is a good fit when it comes to creating the life that you would love to have for you. So if it is not, then it's time to let go of the values. So it's about letting go of some of those values that you have formed and acknowledging that everything is changing and you are changing and finding something that is a better fit for the place where you are. Okay, so shall we move on? The second module. So we go on with the module number 2, overcoming fear and limiting beliefs. So identifying which fears and limiting beliefs are holding you back at this time. Okay. Okay, fear. So on the topic of fear, I'm going to just make a basic distinction here between two kinds of fear. Fear is a evolutionary threat mechanism that allows us to actually survive too. So there is a fear is not something that we totally want to get rid of. There is purpose to fear and utility to it. So there is two kinds of fear. There is physical fear, meaning actually there is a threat to the physical body. There is a real threat to the physical body, and you are experiencing fear, and that is absolutely okay. That's not something that we are speaking about here when it comes to overcoming. So when we are speaking about overcoming fear, we are speaking about psychological fear, the kind of fear that has absolutely nothing to do with any sort of physical threat. Means nothing is really going to happen apart from you feeling a threat to the psychological self, the autobiographic self, meaning how would people think of me if that happened? Or, oh, what would people, how would people look at me if I failed in that? Or if that happens, it's going to be so terrible if I make a mistake, or any kind of fear that has absolutely nothing to do with any sort of real threat, but you're tormented by the fear because you are experiencing some sort of a threat to your psychological self. Has absolutely nothing to do with the physical self. So when it comes to psychological fear, the first thing you want to acknowledge is that any kind of any kind of self-referential experience, meaning any kind of reference that you are making to self from by taking feedback from the outside world, is going to have some sort of a reaction with yourself. Essentially, what you want to do is you want to completely change the pathway itself, the one where you don't really take the information output from the outside world and let it process through your sense of self. So the method that the exercise that I would encourage people to release the kind of psychological fear that we deal with in social situations is something I call identity fasting. So identity fasting it goes like this. The statement is whatever happens, no, it's not really whatever happens, even though I did X, even though I did X, so that X could be any action. Because usually people judge actions more than someone's thoughts. So nobody really makes a big fuss about, oh, how dare you think like that or something like that. It's more like actions get severely judged in the world. Behaviors get judged in the world. So you want to pinpoint on that. Even though I did X, so that X could be any action that you are afraid of getting judged. So even though I did X, my value as a human being remains neutral and constant. So make that your mantra, make that like a motto. So whenever you feel threatened by someone's opinion or judgments, say this: even though I did X, so that action, whatever action it is that people are judging you on, put that there. Even though I did that, I did X, my value as a human being remains neutral and constant. So it's about neutrality and constancy, meaning regardless of whatever you do, your value as a human being, it remains neutral, meaning it's not going to go up or down, and it's going to stay constant, meaning it's not going to change. It's not going to change with the things that you do or not do. Okay, you did this, and now it's going up, and you did not do that, and it's going down. So you don't want that happening. You essentially want to stop something, what I call as self-rating. The way to win the game is stop self-rating yourself. When you stop self-rating, it already takes out the insecurities and fears and many of these things that really upset us and takes us out of the flow of the moment and makes us go too much into thinking and too much into doing more, because it's not about doing more, it's about a harmony, being, doing, having. And the doing is not something that you want to really think about, because usually doing, you want to focus on how you want to be being in a situation rather than what you want to be doing in a situation. Because if you go into what you want to be doing in a situation, that's gonna make you come out of flow state, and you don't want to come out of flow state, you want to be in a flow state. So any set of doing that emerges in any situation, know that it's always automated. Doings are always a set or range of automated behaviors that emerge from a place of being. So that's the core, that's the relationship between being and doing. Doing emerges from a place of being. So the how you are being essentially acts as a sense. It becomes like a trance from where a set of automated behaviors emerge, and that's your doing. And most, since the doing is mostly automated, you want to influence yourself in the level of being. So about if well, I want to be in a situation, the question is not what I want to do in that situation, but how do I want to be in that situation. I'm like choosing to be having fun in that situation. I'm choosing to be fun in a situation, choosing to be not serious in a situation. Now that's going to create a certain set of automated behaviors emerge from that place of not being serious and being fun and all that. Or I can be serious and I can be in a place where I'm taking everything personal, and it's a different place, completely different set of actions come out of that place. Okay. So instead of focusing on what I should be doing in relation to a situation, always ask the question, how do I want to be? How do I want to meet that situation? Because there is power in you meeting a situation in a particular way as opposed to some other way. It's not like however you meet the situation, you get the same result. No, It's never like that. So the exercise for releasing the fear is by doing identity fasting for at least a month or more. And you will know when it is time to stop, because when someone is saying some opinion about you, if you are literally not getting affected, then you know you are no more processing others' opinion about you and their judgments about you through your sense of self, and thus feeling like a reduction in value to yourself or an increase in value in yourself. You have a solid grounded place from where you're operating, and it's not up to people's feedbacks. It's going up and down based on people's feedbacks. When you are finding yourself in any sort of fear, you want to take a step back just for a moment. Take a step back and ask the question, what is it that I'm really believing about myself in the moment? What is it that I'm really believing about the world right now? Because there you can see if you're experiencing a lot of fear, or before really looking to finding ways to just solve that fear or something, always look within and see, could this be about? What could this be about? Just to get a sense of what is it, the underlying underpinning beliefs that makes up that matrix of fear, that creates that profound way of being in the moment, fearfully being in the moment. Know that 100% always, all experiences are 100% mind made. The truth doesn't account to your experience. The ingredients that go into creating your subjective experience in any given moment, it has nothing to do with truth. It has everything to do with what you really believe is going on in the moment. It's not the truth that contributes to you having the experience that you're having. It's what you're believing is happening. So it's your beliefs that contribute to your experience rather than the truth of the situation. Truth has absolutely nothing to do with the situation. So seldom truth has anything to do with your subjective experience. It's good that way, because hence we have all this dynamic, wide array of experiences available for all of us. Otherwise, we'll be stuck. We think we least contribute to our experiences so that we are free in that way. Okay, now shall we move on to the module 3? Okay. So breaking free from bad habits and attachments. Okay. So learning how to decipher which habits are helpful and which are bad. Okay. So when we are speaking about habits and bad habits, especially are the ones we don't really feel good about doing after some time of doing it. At least that's like a distinction that I'm making here to distinguish what's good habit from bad habits. Usually, good habits, we tend to feel good about it if we are reflecting on it later on. Whereas bad habits, in the moment when we are doing it, we tend to not have so much control over our doing it. But later on, we tend to regret doing those things. So, hence, we call them bad habit. And we can also clearly see some sort of a results in our life in terms of something that we don't really enjoy. So hence we want to break free from this bad habit. So now let's just speak about how habits are formed. The brain learns everything through reward. It's a reward-based learning system that the brain has about it. So usually when we do something for the first time, we tend to do it very consciously because it's unfamiliar, probably. It's new. There is a novelty to it. So we tend to do things very consciously, especially when we are doing it for the first time. And whatever we do very consciously, it gets recorded in the nervous system. So the reward that you experience from any action gets recorded on the level of nervous system rather than in your mind or in your emotions. The meaning on the level of sensations, you actually feel good in your body as you're thinking about doing it. So hence you do it because of the reward. The body remembers feeling good doing it. But the thing is, after you have done it for a few times, whatever it is that you have done it for the first time and you've been doing it for some time, after a few times, you tend to not do it consciously. It's not something that is wrong with us or something. It's just the way that our brain works. Our brain likes two things: to learn something as fast as possible, and as long as you and as fast and as soon as you have learned it, to do it automatically. So just two things: learn something as fast as possible, taking the necessary shortcuts needed to learn it as fast as possible, and as long as you have learned it, immediately to do it automatically. So hence we have habits are there so that you can live your life unconsciously. Habits are there so that you really do not have to live your life all the time consciously. And hence, we also have another thing: rules. We live our life rules governed. We have rules when it comes to doing things. Rules come when it comes to all areas. And rules are for people who are living their life unconsciously. Because guess when we do what what would having rules regarding areas that you have to engage with be free you from thinking. You have rules there so that you don't have to think about it. So literally rules are there so that you don't have to think, you don't have to live consciously. So you can live your life on autopilot. So this is something that you want to know about habits. So no, habits are good. So it serves you, it's useful to you, but you also have to keep a check. Keep and have to consider, is this habit still serving me? Is it still useful to me? Do I still love it? Do I still enjoy it? What is it creating in my? Am I showing up in my best because of it, or am I moving away from my best because of it? And usually, what happens? Habits. That is the word that I'm just looking for, just in the tip of my tongue. Sequential. Basically, what what needs to happen when you want to break away bad habit is you want to go from sequential incongruity to a simultaneous one. What I mean by that is, as you are feeling good with the first step in the whole step of behavior, let's just say, the behavior is me eating pastries. Me eating pastries. Let's just say that's the behavior that I want to get rid of. Okay. And the behavior starts with me having a thought of having the pastry from the fridge. Let's just say that's the first action in the sequence of the behavior. So as soon as I catch myself in the first thought, I am asking myself the question, do I love this? Is this what I want? So when I'm asking the question, I'm questioning the reward for that action, meaning the action of thinking about having the pastry. See, that very specific action is what I am questioning. Do I enjoy this? Is this behavior giving me all that I want to experience right now? Is this what I really want to experience right now? So I'm asking this question and I'm getting a response from the body. I'm noticing how the body feels. So if the answer is no, then naturally there is going to be a correction with the reward hierarchy. Because usually unconsciously you're doing the stuff, it has been put on top the reward hierarchy. Just thinking about having the pastry, there's naturally a reward to it. So what you want is you want to take away the reward that you receive for just thinking about having the pastry. So you see, if you can take away the reward from the first elements itself, then the chances of you going to the second and the third set of behavior is less because you need the push from the first reward thing to the next. So you want to have a simultaneous incongruity instead of happening in a sequential manner. Meaning, usually what would happen is you're thinking about having pastry, and at that time it feels good because that's what your nervous system remembered from the first few times you consciously did it, and it felt good. There's a reward for the behavior, so it felt good. And then you did it, and at some point you were like, I shouldn't have done it. So you see, so there is a incongruity, but it's not happening simultaneously at the same time. It's happening sequentially in later on in a linear fashion. So the feeling, oh, I don't want to do that, or I shouldn't have done that, doesn't feel good. That not feeling good comes later on rather than it hitting at the right time when the behavior is also being hit. So you want to you want to create a simultaneous incongruity happen at the same time. As you think that, oh, it actually feels good, you're really questioning, oh, does this really feel good? Is this what I really want to experience? That this behavior. So when you're asking about the behavior, not asking about the whole behavior, you're simply speaking about the behavior in the moment, whatever that little behavior is. That can be as simple as me thinking about having the dessert or something like that. So I'm thinking, okay, do I really get all that I want from this behavior, thinking about dessert? That's what I'm asking. So I want to create I want to let the reward for this particular thinking behavior to go down. Yeah. So that's the way to break free from bad habits, guys. And that's like actually top level stuff. Really. Should be really handy to get out of many bad habits. Yeah. This is the real trick. Most of the times it happens, everything happens because it's sequentially happening. You feel good while you're thinking of doing it, and then you do it, and then later on you're feeling like shit. And so what you want is to hit at the right time so that it collapse. And habit collapse. Brain actually changes the reward hierarchy as, oh, actually it doesn't really feel that good anymore. Because the trick is you have to be mindful and become conscious in the moment as you are engaging in the behavior. The brain does not update the reward hierarchy unless a person is coming online, meaning conscious. If you're simply in your automated behaviors, like in your habit loop, then there is nothing happening. There is no updating the reward hierarchy when you are just engaging in a habitual behavior. You have to become conscious again. So that's the trick. Because what brain loves to do is to learn something to do as fast as possible, and as long as you have learned it, to do it automatically with the least amount of engagement needed from you to do it. So the trick is to actually be conscious in the moment. Come back conscious. And if you can become mindful and become conscious and question, oh, do I love it? do I enjoy this behavior? Is this what I really want to experience? Does this behavior give me all that I want to experience right now? And if the body say no, meaning there's like a not a good experience in the body, there's like an unpleasant sensation. Now you don't have to do anything because the brain is a organ and it's not you, and it knows how to autocorrect itself. So it will naturally make changes to the reward hierarchy. All you have to really do is simply be conscious and question, is this what I really want to do? Is this really giving me all that I want to experience? And you make sure your habits work for you rather than you work for your habits. Do anyone have any questions? Where are we?
No questions, but this was very helpful. I've really enjoyed the material you've presented and the talk track
Okay.
around it.
Good, thank you. Appreciate it, Sanal.
Yeah, I also don't have questions, but some good thoughts and new perspectives. So, yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that you want some new perspectives always. Otherwise, no, it's just
I'm a hypnotherapist. I work a lot with bad habits, like all the time.
yeah. So it's gonna be really useful.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's really helpful then, because this is something that you can teach people so that it's they learn how their own system works, and they can work with the system. And it's always empowering when you can make structural and behavioral changes to your own habits that is not instigated by someone else, because it's more empowering. You having a feeling like, oh my God, I really can change the system that I am. So it's really empowering when you can do that.
Yeah. Especially that perspective from the reward system, because I recently had a couple of clients that wanted to quit smoking, but for everyone, it means something else. It's all about the meaning and the reward attached to it. So that's
Yeah.
probably a good example. Yeah.
Yeah, and also catching them in the act, because smoking being such a habit, the person must be so unconscious about the habit at this point, given so many times of doing it, but they're doing such an automated behavior, probably have so many triggers to getting into the action mode of smoking. So the trick is to catch them, actually be conscious.
And also the
Now,
body is taken over. That's the other thing.
yeah, body talks
Yeah,
over.
taken off.
Yeah. So it becomes a real trick to actually catch yourself in the moment. That becomes like a trick. Most of the times, the reward is always outweighing the cost, because they're probably more stressed and more over. Or the situation is more overbearing or something like that. Whatever that little, there is some bad experience of it, but they don't really care, because compared to the cost of which and the benefit, they feel like, oh, the benefit outweigh the cost.
And often the reward is like outdated. It's from childhood. Like you get
Yeah.
chocolate. And
Yeah, what is outdated? That's what I said. That's what I meant. Like the reward never gets updated unless you come back conscious with whatever that you are having your habit around, because it can be stuck in the same reward system hierarchy way back when you established the habit. Yeah.
But I work. You do it.
Yeah.
Did you mention that you have a book out, or the Conscious Creator Code? I was curious around that.
Yeah, that book is, yeah, I will be telling more about the book tomorrow. I think my wife is usually the one under the book and all this, everything actually, everything, the organization, the whole thing. I just show up talking. Yeah.
Sounds good.
But yeah, the book is there. Many of the, many of these subjects are actually like being going through the going. Yeah. And yeah, if you guys are good for today, we can meet tomorrow again with the rest of the workshop.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you for your inputs today.
Okay. No, I
Yeah.
appreciate you
Okay.
guys' presence, and it's just always a co-creation. You can be just asking something, and I would be forced to go in it different tangent or something. It's not really up to one person, this kind of stuff. So I enjoyed it. And I usually don't know what I say either. I don't really prepare or something like that. I'm an improv guy. Just woke up right in that moment. My wife got me. Oh, that was like, okay, but it's good. Everything's good. I'm satisfied with the points shared. I might have just shared some other stuff that's not in the book. But anyways, really good stuff.
Okay. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow then.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. We'll see you tomorrow then. Bye-bye.
Okay, see you tomorrow, guys. Bye-bye. Okay, see you then. Bye. Lola, bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will see you tomorrow. I'm sorry
Okay.
I didn't go on camera.
No,
Busy
that's
with- Yes, I'm going right now. I'm busy with a puppy I have here. I'm between listening to you and running outside. And I got
Okay.
up late too, so I apologize.
No, that's okay. I think the recording will be there, and I'm sure my wife will find a way to just, yeah.
Yes. Okay. No, I'll be on tomorrow. I appreciate
Okay.
it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello?